Welcome back to another video. I'm Phil T, and in this video, we're going to talk about this article that says why Cobra Kai Season 6 needs the next Karate Kid star, Hilary Swank. Now, I've been saying for a while, years now, that I would love to see Hilary Swank reprise her role as Julie Pierce in the Miyagi-verse for Cobra Kai. I would have loved to have seen her in Season 5, Cobra Kai Season 5, but we didn't. And seeing how Season 6 has been recently announced to be his last season, I feel like it is fitting for Cobra Kai to bring in Julie Pierce, even if this is a very small role. Now, granted that Hilary Swank is currently pregnant, and I think that they can still put her pregnancy, or if she has her child by then, which most likely will be, they can incorporate her be a mom in real life, but also bringing that to the show, and how Julie Pierce, after the next Karate Kid, found true love, and it's maybe that guy that she was hanging out with in the next Karate Kid, and maybe they had a kid together, or maybe it's of course different person, but still, the fact is Julie Pierce found true love and now she's happy. They don't exactly need her to do any action, even though it would be cool to see Julie Pierce kicking some asses, but they don't need Julie Pierce to exactly kick some asses. But it still would be cool to see Julie Pierce come back, because I think, even though the next Karate Kid may be the weakest out of the 4 Karate Kid films, I feel like the character of Julie Pierce is vastly underrated. Vastly. Now, with that said, I'm going to read this article because I've been talking for nearly 3 minutes and I haven't read the article. So let's read the article before I give any more of my 2 cents in, shall we? Cobra Kai returns later this year, and this is why the next Karate Kid star, Hilary Swank, needs to make an appearance in the 6th and final season. Cobra Kai's belated Karate Kid spin-off that becomes one of the most popular shows on Netflix, first debuting on YouTube in 2019. The show moved to the streaming service in 2021, and its popularity has grown ever since. The story continues the rivalry of the Karate Kid Daniel LaRusso and his enemy Johnny Lawrence. Along the way, familiar faces from the first 3 films have popped up, including Ali Mills, John Kreese, Terry Silver, Joshin Taguchi, Mike Barnes, and Jessica Andrews. All these characters had a connection to Johnny and Daniel in the trilogy, but for the Cobra Kai story to come full circle, the show needs to connect with the 4th film in the series, and I agree. Even though that's like I said, the weakest, I think Julie Pierce deserves more love, and I honestly enjoyed the next Karate Kid, even though I can acknowledge that even though I enjoyed it, it's not as good as the first 3, but still. Anyways. What is the next Karate Kid? The next Karate Kid franchise kicked off with the acclaimed and hugely popular first film in 1984, which was followed by the decent, if slightly less successful sequel in 1986. The trilogy concluded with the 1989's Part 3, a dreadful film that killed the franchise stone dead. For 5 years, that is. The story was I enjoyed the Karate Kid Part 3 and 2. Karate Kid Part 1 was Daniel going to all family tournaments. Part 2 was going to Mr. Miyagi's homeland. And Part 3 was Daniel coming back to the All Valley because he was essentially getting bullied by Mike Barnes, John Silver, John Kreese, and Terry Silver. I don't know why I said John Silver. Sorry. Anyways, the story was then rebooted in 1994 via The Next Karate Kid, which relocated the mainstay Mr. Miyagi to our new location and gave him a new student teach. I don't know if rebooted would be the right word in this case, because for me, our reboot is like the Ninja Turtles movies, right? We have the 1990s Ninja Turtle trilogy, right? And then we got the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies. And even though those two Turtle film series are Ninja Turtles, and they share something in common, like in terms of name, they're in their own universes. And the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies is pretty much their own reboot. And granted that the 1990 films is their own reboot, but the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles films isn't a continuation of the 1990 film. The Next Karate Kid is, I feel like it's a continuation of the Karate Kid trilogy. And especially since they made like a few references to the Karate Kid trilogy. One in particular with Mr. Miyagi, like after stepping like into like Julie's room after she was getting dressed unintentionally, and he was saying that boys are easier. And if memory serves me right, it's been a while since I've watched The Next Karate Kid, but in that scene, Mr. Miyagi does make a reference to Daniel, making it clear that The Next Karate Kid is a continuation of the Karate Kid Part 1, 2, and 3. So I think reboot is not the best term. More like sequel. Sorry, I was really harping on that. Sorry. But you guys get the point? You guys get my point? I hope you guys get my point. So who does Hilary Swank play in The Next Karate Kid? Which I feel like they could have like combined the last pair, like what is The Next Karate Kid with who does Hilary Swank play in The Next Karate Kid, because they, I feel like, are one and the same, essentially. Anyways, Hilary Swank plays the new student in the shape of Julie Pierce. Following the deaths of her parents, Julie lives with her grandmother in Boston, which is where she meets Mr. Miyagi after the ceremony of the war veterans. Grandma then does a house swap with Mr. Miyagi, meaning he's soon living in Boston with Julie, and it quickly becomes clear that she's filled with rage because of her loss and because of the bullying Julie receives at school. So in a classic Karate Kid fashion, Miyagi teaches her that anger won't bring her parents back. He trains her to fight and somewhat randomly how to dance. Yeah, I remember that scene. The film climaxing with a brawl by the dogs where Julie defeats her tormentor. And I gotta say, the climax for The Next Karate Kid, as entertaining as it might have been, it wasn't as like badass or like, oh my god, as like the first three Karate Kid films, in my opinion. But I still enjoyed The Next Karate Kid. I thought it was a pretty solid movie. Anyways, Mr. Miyagi unites with all the unites all the Karate Kid movies, but he's the only connective tissue between Daniel, Johnny, and Julie. Meaning, as far as we know, those characters have never met. So there's no history to be explored, unless if you count Ralph. Unless you think that Ralph Macchio thinks he's below. Which I don't know if they go into detail about in this article, because this is the first time I'm reading it. But I can see Johnny and Julie never really meeting crossing paths, because I don't see there any reason to. I mean, there could be, and with how the 5 seasons of Cobra Kai was like, they could give us a reason yeah, Johnny and Julie met, and it could be a shock to us all, and use Daniel to be like, what, you guys met? Pretty much using Daniel as a person to react to on how us fans would react to it, because I can't see Daniel and Julie meeting as Mr. Miyagi's funeral. So, I would love to see a Daniel Julie meet. I mean, if we can't get Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker interacting with each other in the Star Wars show Book of Boba Fett, which admittedly I nerded out because Luke Skywalker's my favorite Jedi and Ahsoka Tano's my favorite Clone Wars hero, then we can get Julie Pierce and Daniel LaRusso to meet and talk. Let's do this. Anyways, but even then, actor Pat Morita died in 2005, meaning Mr. Miyagi doesn't appear in Cobra Kai. His presence is felt throughout the series, though through his philosophy and homespun wisdom, as well as the love and affection everyone still has for him. I hate to do this because Star Wars has done this a few times, mostly Luke Skywalker, and they did this. Cobra Kai did this with a younger Johnny Lawrence. But if it's a flashback scene, well, I don't really hate the first bit. It's the second bit I'm going to hate saying. The first bit is we can see Julie and Daniel meeting at Mr. Miyagi's funeral. It's not the first time we would get flashbacks in Cobra Kai. We got flashbacks in Cobra Kai at least 3 times at this point, if not a bit more. But assuming that Daniel what if Daniel and Julie meet before? This is the part where I hate. They could always deep fake Mr. Miyagi. And have him introduce those two. Now, I'm not exactly entirely, I'm, torn between, deepfakes, because, deepfakes is becoming a new thing. They did that with, Grand Moff Tarkin. They did it in Star Wars with Princess Leia twice. Grand Moff Tarkin, and, Luke Skywalker. And they're going to do that with, Indiana Jones in the new Indiana Jones movie. And they did that with young Johnny Lawrence in Cobra Kai. So I wouldn't put it past them that they will potentially do that. Do I want them to? No. But I wouldn't put it past them. But anyways, let's continue. So season 6 needs a full-on celebration of his life. A little like a ceremony at the start of the next Karate Kid. All the people Miyagi has touched with his teachings could meet and share stories of the great man. While the event could also bring Julie into the Cobra Kai fold to join Daniel and Johnny for the last Raw. That is a pretty decent idea. I like that idea. Now I kind of doubt that Julie Pierce will be a regular on the show due to by then Hilary Swank most likely just having her baby, just having her child. So I highly doubt that she will be a regular for season 6. I can see them using her for like an episode, 2 episodes max. Cause I know like parenting is not an easy job, especially when like just newborn. So like, which is why I'm saying I can't see them using Julie Pierce more than like 2 episodes at most. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Hilary Swank can pull it off in this scenario. I don't know. I'm not saying she can. It's just circumstances. Anyways, Hilary Swank and Ralph Macchio weighs in on Cobra Kai while appearing in Life with Kelly and Ryan. Swank said a lot of people ask if I'm going to be in it, like the number one question I get. Then when asked about reprising her role in Cobra Kai, Hilary Swank said, no one's called me. But it's so funny, isn't it? The one thing I get asked the most and no one's called me. And it seems like she's open to it from her statements. I don't know if her, like, views changed because, well, as I was saying before, but I'm hoping we get Julie Pierce because I've been, like, campaigning Julie Pierce to be in Cobra Kai for years at this point. I want this to happen. I will nerd out and yell out, yes! If she's in Cobra Kai. Let's be real. Anyways. In response to this quote, Ralph Macchio told Cinema Blend, I know, I read that. I think, listen, most of this rests on showrunners John Hurwitz, John Held, and Hayden Skulsberg, who created the show and the writing staff. And we're very collaborative, and we're always thinking through things. They are great listeners, and that's why, like I said, they care, and I care. So I think that's why everything is working. I think there's certainly room in the Miyagi-verse. Macchio even speculated that the characters might have met, stating, you would imagine that Julie Pierce and Daniel LaRusso knew each other, even though we don't have those scenes, and I'm not a part of that specific film. These guys just amaze me all the time with what they are able to create, and the fact that they just don't create it for fan service. They really care. They really create stories that work and enhance characters. And then the fact that it's fan service as well is why I think is working on all cylinders. So there's a long answer to the short question that I really don't know. But I expect if there's an opportunity, it will be taken upon. Well, they literally just said, well, in this article, they just gave an idea, which I will reread. The next, all the people Miyagi has touched with his teachings could meet and share stories of the great man. While the event could also bring Julie into the Cobra Kai fold to join Daniel and Johnny for their last hurrah. Now, clearly it's going like Daniel's going to be there, Sam's going to be there, cause well, the LaRusso family is going to be there because he touched their lives, and it doesn't even have to be only like people that he taught. It could be people who knew him, which could be like Chosen and Tatsu and Julie And essentially, Johnny. Maybe like through like Daniel's getting to know Daniel and becoming friends with Daniel, he feels like part of Mr. Miyagi has touched him more than their brief encounters in the Karate Kid film. And maybe like Johnny is still like very appreciative for Miyagi stepping in after he lost to All Valley, because John Kreese was a douchebag, and he could have easily killed Johnny at the end of the Karate Kid Part 1. So maybe Johnny comes there to show appreciation that Mr. Miyagi saved his life. Point is, I'm in agreement with this article, essentially. Hilary Swank should come in for Cobra Kai Season 6. Like I said, I've been campaigning this for like a hot minute now. I want this. I really want this to happen. You guys have like no idea. Like I said, the next Karate Kid might be the weakest film in the series. And I can understand that. I can get that. But I'll be damned if I didn't say that I was a huge fan of Julie Pierce. Julie Pierce is an underrated character. I would love to see her getting the appreciation that she deserves. And I love Daniel LaRusso. He's a really cool character. And I really love how like Cobra Kai has like redeemed Johnny and Chosen, because those two characters are great. And I feel like in their respective Karate Kid films, both of them are lost. So, like, we're young, lost youth. So I'm really happy this show was created due to the fact that they were able to get redeemed. And they redeemed both characters in a good way too. And it's hard not to like Chosen and Johnny at this point. But like I said, I really love this. I would love to see Hilary Swank coming into Cobra Kai, because like I said, I think Julie Pierce deserves more love, more appreciation that she deserves, that she gets currently. And I feel like she doesn't, because she was put into like debatably the weakest Karate Kid film in that set. And that's not fair to the character or the actress. So I would love to see her come in to Cobra Kai Season 6. But what do you beautiful people think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, love you all. Have a wonderful day. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll talk to you fellow mutants later. And Cobra Kai never dies, right? I'm going to end this video before I make this weird.